This module is called Quantitative Image Inspection. Over the course of part 1 of this workshop, we've covered the foundations of digital imaging, including how images are generated, represented, visualized, stored, and annotated. In this final module of part 1, we'll bring many of those concepts together and focus on an important question: how can we accurately inspect, interpret, and present image data? As scientists, our goal isn't simply to create visually appealing images. We need to ensure that our image presentation remains faithful to the underlying data, and that any conclusions we draw are supported by quantitative evidence. In this module, we'll discuss best practices for quantitative image inspection and presentation, particularly in the context of multiplex immunofluorescence imaging. In this module, we'll explore 2 questions. How can we ensure we visualize images for others accurately, and how we can provide context for measurements in our image? By the end of the module, you should be able to critically evaluate image visualizations and apply best practices when preparing figures for presentations, publications, and reports. Presenting multiplex immunofluorescence data requires careful attention to both scientific rigor and visual clarity. This checklist shown here comes from a recent community-developed guideline for image publication. But the goal of these recommendations is to improve transparency, reproducibility, and data interpretation. When presenting fluorescence images, we should consider factors such as image scaling, brightness and contrast adjustments, color selection, annotation of image features, inclusion of scale bars, and documentation of image processing steps. Importantly, any adjustments applied during image preparation should be reported and should not misrepresent the original data. Remember that figures are not simply illustrations, they are scientific data and should be treated with the same level of care as any other experimental result. We won't be going through everything in this list and consider further modules after this workshop to go through how we can address each of these. But for this module, we're going to do an exercise where you'll walk through the Network of European Bioimage Analysis module on quantitative image inspection and presentation. As you complete the activities, pay attention to how different visualization choices affect interpretation of the same image data. You'll notice that there's a QR code on the screen, and so it may be useful to scan this with your phone and put it alongside you so that you can read the instructions while then carrying out the steps on your computer. Also note that we'll be doing this for ImageJ GUI, as shown here, and that the last step of the inspecting collagen image data is not available within QuPath's built-in ImageJ. After that, we'll also do the implementation in PowerPoint. I'll pause here to give you a chance to complete this. First, we'll need to download the images from the link provided at the bottom. In the module in our browser, we can then scroll down through to then activities, where we can select the ImageJ GUI and download the appropriate data. We'll see that this will download 2 image files. Here I've opened a new QuPath window and I'll show ImageJ. Here I can go to the location of those images and simply drag and drop them onto the ImageJ window. This will then open them in ImageJ. If we can't see our images very well in ImageJ, then we might want to adjust the brightness and contrast. Similar to QuPath, we can do this by going to Image, Adjust, and Brightness and Contrast. Here we can just click the auto settings on each image to see them a bit better. In the instructions, we're told to use the Set button in the brightness and contrast window and set to 0 for the minimum displayed value and 3500 for the maximum. Or press OK. We'll do this for the second image. As well. We're also told to check the spatial calibration for this image. So clicking back onto the Image J window, we can go to Image and Properties and see that at the moment we have a spatial calibration of 1 pixel by 1 pixel, i.e. we don't have the spatial unit. We can change this to micron and say the width and height of our pixels are 0.324 and press OK. We'll need to do this for both of our images. We'll now add a calibration bar to both of our images. So, selecting the image, we can then go to Analyze, Tools, and Scale bar, or Calibration bar actually. We'll put this in the upper left with white, fill color, label color of black, font size of 12, and a zoom factor of 4. And we'll toggle on the overlay and click OK. We'll do the same for our second image. So we're going to Analyze, Tools, Calibration bar. OK. We'll then go back to the instructions on our computer and download the second set of images. We can open these and adjust the brightness and contrast again like before, this time with different values. So here we're going for an adjustment to our images of 0 to 4000. And the same for this image. And now we want to merge the channels belonging to the same image. To do this, we'll open our Image J, select Image, Color, Merge Channels. We'll follow the instructions and set our second channel, in brackets green, to the collagen, and our third channel, blue, to the dappy stain for the same time image. And click OK. Oh, and keep the source images. We'll now do the same for our second pair of images. So image, color, merge channels, this time selecting the 96-hour collagen image for our second channel, and 96-hour dappy for our third channel, and create that. We'll now add a scale bar to each of our images. So selecting Image J window, we can go for this image where we'll Analyze, Tools, and Scale bar, and then use the settings specified in the instructions, going for 20 thickness in pixels, 100 microns across with a larger font size, And there we can see that it's displayed currently in our bottom right, and instructions ask to put it in lower left. We'll then toggle on the options as shown and click OK. We'll do this for the second image. Analyze, Tools, Scale Bar, and we can see that all but it showing in the lower left is already filled out for us. And click OK. We can close our DAPI images and go back to our collagen only images. We can then add scale bars to these as well. Going for Analyze, Tools, Scale Bar, and the same as before, this time just in the lower left corner as well. And we'll make a annotation using ImageJ, where the icons, as you can see, are very similar to that of QuPath. We'll make the rectangle on the 0 hour collagen somewhere interesting, such as around this cell here. Whilst we still have the annotation selected, we can go to Image and Duplicate. After selecting the image we want to duplicate it to, apologies, not selecting the image, we're wanting to make a duplicate of the ROI we have selected. So we want to click Image, Duplicate, and have Ignore Selection toggled off. And here we now have a zoomed in version of our ROI selection. We can add a scale bar to this as well, this time adjusting it slightly differently to settings something like this. Okay. Then we'll select the line tool, draw a line across our image, and then we can create a plot profile by Analyze, Plot Profile, and see that we also have a plot profile for the measurements across this line. We can repeat the procedure again, selecting for our other image, where we can then select a region. We can duplicate that region. We can add a scale bar to that region. And then drawing a line across the cell, and then producing a plot profile for this too. Now in the instructions, we have the Biovoxel Figure Toolbox plugin as part of our ImageJ. In our situation, as we're using QuPath, ImageJ that's in QuPath, we can simply save all of our outputs as one of the other image file formats. For presentation, I would recommend PNG. With all of these components, you can then arrange them in your PowerPoint presentation in a similar format as shown in the Quantitative and Image Inspection and Presentation instructions. And so you get an idea of the different channels and the channel that you're specifically measuring across one of the cells. But notice that we now consider information like the lookup table, the scale bar, and an example across a profile and a specific region of interest. As we can conclude this module, let's revisit our objectives. We've discussed principles of quantitative image inspection, reviewed recommendations for presenting multiplex immunofluorescence data, and explored practical approaches for creating scientifically accurate image figures. These skills are essential because image analysis does not end once measurements are generated. Equally important is communicating those results clearly, accurately, and transparently. To conclude, quantitative image inspection is about looking beyond image appearance and understanding what the data actually represents. The way we display images through color selection, brightness adjustments, and contrast settings can substantially influence how viewers interpret the results. For this reason, image presentation should always aim to improve visibility without altering the scientific message. Good figures also provide appropriate context, including scale bars, labels, and sufficient methodological information for others to understand what they're viewing. Transparency is essential. Any processing or visualization steps should be clearly documented so that figures remain reproducible and scientifically trustworthy. Following established community guidelines can help ensure that image data are communicated accurately and consistently. This brings us to the end of Module 8 and, importantly, the end of Part 1 of this workshop. Over the past 8 modules, we've built the foundation needed to understand digital microscopy images. We've covered image acquisition, digital image basics, color representation, and image dimensions, file formats, annotation workflows, and quantitative image inspection. These concepts may seem technical, but they underpin everything we do in image analysis. Understanding the data is the first step towards analyzing it correctly. In Part 2, we'll shift our focus from understanding digital images to performing multiplex immunofluorescence image analysis in QuPath. We'll walk through a typical end-to-end workflow, including quality assessment, tissue segmentation, artifact removal, cell segmentation, cell classification, and quantitative analysis. The goal of Part 1 was to develop a solid conceptual foundation. Part 2 is where we'll begin applying those concepts to real-world multiplex immunofluorescence image analysis workflows. Thank you for listening along for Part 1, and I look forward to continuing with Part 2.